welcome back, everybody. Well, maybe not everybody, but quite a few people. So I think we're ready to go for our next pre-lunch session for today. So in the morning, we heard a little bit about some of the new innovations that operators are working on. And in this session, which is about the open telco and cloud native, we're going to look a little bit more at what's happening, inside, under the hood. So looking forward to seeing what our panelists have to say there. We are going to start with a panel led by Kai Wang, Principal Analyst at ABI Research. Please come on up, Kai, and introduce your panel and the topic, which is accelerating the journey to cloud native.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Before we start, maybe I can just get my panelists to come over on stage first. We have Marco from M1, David from Rakuten Symphony, as well as Anu from Sri Lanka Telecom. Have a seat. That's fine. I think we're good. Yep. We are a bit more particular about this, but well, again, thank you, everyone. Good morning. Thank you once again for joining us. I think we have the coveted before lunch slot, and as well as having the, I know the allure of joining the next door crypto conference is also very, very tempting for a lot of you. So thank you once again for sticking to it. I trust you. This is going to be a fantastic topic. We'll be talking about, cloud native platforms, 5G monetization, etc. Right? So before we start, let me just give a brief introduction about myself. My name is Kai. I am from ABI Research, and I lead our hybrid cloud computing ecosystem research based here in Singapore. Right? So I briefly introduced my panelists just now, but to kickstart, let me just perhaps get Marco to give us a introduction about yourself, about M1 and what you do in M1.
All right, great. So my name is Marco. I'm a CDO in M1, responsible for IT, data, CX, UX, and security. M1 is Singaporean telco, number 2 when it comes to number of subscribers. But we also acquired the Asia Pac, which is one of the biggest regional service provider, solution provider for B2B. And we also have some operations in Malaysia. So M1 is pretty much a regional player. We are also part of the Keppel Group. As a part of Keppel Group, there is one adjacent product that is very much good potential for us to leverage on our journey for Gen AI. This is a Keppel Data Centers. So Keppel Data Centers has a very large global footprint of currently 32 data centers spread across the globe and has a very significant roadmap and opportunity to grow this further. So in a nutshell, that's about me and about M1. I think we'll share a little bit about the transformation journey as the panel goes on. So yeah.
Definitely. Thank you, Marco. Maybe David, your turn.
Hi, so my name is David Soldani. Thank you for having me. And been in the ICT field for about 25 years. I have been contributing as an academic as well as an industry player. As industry player, I've been with Nokia around 14 years, and then Huawei 10 years, and then I joined, now it's about a bit more than 3 years, Rakuten, 2 roles. First, I served as Chief Information Security Officer for Symphony, and then I moved up onto RMI, and at RMI I'm heading the Next Generation Advanced Research Division. We focus especially to serve our BUs, internal business unit, but also collaborate with the Symphony to push our innovation outside. And our areas are basically 3. We are on artificial intelligence, and then we program the Linux kernel using eBPF. And also, we are also involved now on open APIs. So that's basically the position of our work.
Fantastic. Thanks, David. Maybe Anu?
Anu from SLT Mobitel. I take care of enterprise solutions of one of the regions in Sri Lanka, and besides that, I also work on 5G strategy, transport networks, and a bit of R&D. Plus, I also help my international business arm, Syntech Enterprise, in terms of solution consulting. with about 20 years of experience in telco.
Great. So maybe for the first topic or the first question, I'll stay with you, Anu, if it's okay with you, right? So we've been hearing about telco becoming techcos, etc., right? What does that mean for you personally, as well as from a Sri Lanka Telecom perspective? You can just kind of give us a color of what Sri Lanka Telecom is doing in that space.
Before getting into SLT Mobitel, but if you generally speak, we got to hear like many transformations. Like CSP to DSP was one, service provider to experience provider was one. Now telco to techco, and people talk about telco to multiple other cores with delayering. So for me, I think it was mentioned in one of the panels yesterday as well. If you take a classical techco and a classical telco, there are huge differences in terms of the amount of capex that we invest on R&D and the amount of capex that we invest on the capital, amount of revenue that we invest on capital expenditure and the amount of revenue that we invest on R&D. So in my view, it's good to be a techco, but I always use the term telco-techco rather than just calling ourselves to become a techco, because I don't think a telco will become a techco as such in the classical definition, but will become a telco-techco. And that is something we also drive within SLT Mobitel, and we are looking at delayering very critically, and something that we are working on these days.
Okay. Maybe David, you have anything to add in that space?
No, I mean, I would like to perhaps emphasize a big result of Rakuten Mobile, right? Overall, this is an example of fundamental transformation from monolithical approach, where everything was coupled into an end-to-end virtual infrastructure, which enables a plethora of new services and cost saving. Perhaps we can go through this across more questions.
For sure. And maybe Marco, from an M1 perspective, you mentioned data center infrastructure and all that, right? What can you kind of share with the audience here?
Absolutely, but let me touch base on the techco a little bit. I think, I'll keep it real, guys. I think there are pretty much two schools of thoughts, right? One is, and I think when I think about a techco, number one is, making sure that we become super simple, that we provide a telco as a service. And I know it sounds a bit contradictory, but really telco is a service. But what we have managed to do is to really complicate our lives very much in terms of the bundles and all the services and offerings we are providing to customers. So radically simplifying this, that's one school of thought. Becoming pretty much almost like a utility company, right? Another school of thought is becoming a digital service provider, becoming a one-stop for your consumers, where they can actually buy all the lifestyle bundles and really enjoy their digital journeys with you. And now the really discussion is how well we are perceived in positions to play the second role, and how much we can really give up on our legacy and on our revenues as well to become number one in the utility and simplification, right? It's very hard. It's a hard work. Transformation is a very, very much hard work. We started our journey in 2019. We decided to go for a cloud native. 4 years later on, the results are there. We are still not there in terms of complete stabilization and economics, but at least we managed to achieve to move all of our legacy customers to a digital platform. This is a cloud native platform. We are 92% of loads on the public cloud. We also have 12 best of breed products, which replace 200 legacy applications. We managed to also aggregate all of our data in a single data lake. And we migrated more than 1.5 million customers also to this new platform. This year was all about a stabilization, because when you move to the cloud, you are facing new challenges. And usually, when you actually subscribe to this transformation, you don't really think about the day two. And then you realize that your economics, your FinOps, your operations, everything needs to be shifted. A lot of competence upskilling as well needs to happen. So this year is all about this. And next year is going to be pretty much about AI and AI ops. That's going to be the focus for us next year.
Okay. And let me just, if it's okay, stay at that digital transformation stage for M1, right? If we can kind of peel the layer a little bit further down, it's what prompted that change in transforming from a legacy infrastructure to a cloud native platform? Is there some buttons that were being pushed to kind of move towards that area?
I think that sense of urgency is absolutely mandatory because transforming is a journey of becoming. And there must be a strong sense of urgency and sense of mobilization as well. The urgency is coming from two lenses. Number one is the market pressure. And I think that everybody who's working in Singapore, living in Singapore, they know that telco market in Singapore is absolutely extremely competitive. We have 4 major operators, around a dozen MVNOs. It's a bloodbath, honestly, when it comes to price competition, erosion, revenue erosion it's just very extreme. So that is one aspect. The other aspect is the cost and the legacy. So we face the end of life on-prem systems. We also face that any change took too much time and too much investment, end of life, end of service. So that was another driver, right? So these are the 2 main motivations. Ultimately, our promise was, number 1, to our customer, better experience and more innovation. Number 2, reduce the cost. And number 3, our simplified operations. And a very bizarre, paradoxical part of transformation is throughout the 3 years of transformation, it happens completely opposite. Because your cost is increasing, you are investing, you are running 2 systems. You are increasing number of incidents while you are moving some customers to new technology. And you are also running two systems, so the customer-facing operations, back-end operations, everything is more complicated. So it requires a lot of patience, a lot of trust, and also a lot of hard work, as I said before.
I can imagine. And we'll talk about that cost saving, cost reduction a little bit further down this panel. But I know, if I may, if from a Sri Lanka Telecom Mobitel perspective, how are you seeing the shift towards cloud-native architecture?
For us, the transformation, the overall transformation started somewhere just after the 2000s. And we had multiple areas that we wanted to transform back then. One was the network, then the culture, the internal organization, the products, and all of that. What we started with was with the network. So we are almost 170-year-old company, starting from the very beginnings of the telecoms, the circuit switching, and all of that. We managed to transform our transport network to NGN in the latter part of 2000s, and then slowly transform the network to something like software-defined. To some extent, as of today, the international network and some of our data centers based on SDN principles, and moving towards the cloud-native part. So for us, it's all 3 phases, from NGN to what I call as SGN, and then moving to the cloud-native part. So we are now in between software-defined networks, NFV, to cloud-native, but today it's mostly the VNFs that we handle in terms of the workloads, the telco workloads. But we understand, like in Sri Lanka, the 5G spectrum is not yet released, but we are making everything ready for 5G, maybe next year or just after the first quarter, I don't know. But the transport network is going to be changed to support 5G, like network slicing, stuff like that. And also the telco cloud, which is going to host most of the intelligence of the 5G infrastructure. So today it's mostly VNFs, but we presume, in the future, it's going to be more of CNFs. And for that, we have Kubernetes platforms already running and just offering Kubernetes services to our enterprise customers as well.
Got it. Understood. Maybe David, do you want to add something from your perspective?
Yeah, so about the Rakuten Mobile journey started with the on VMs, of course, as was the first step to have the virtual network functions on our infrastructure characterized by 2 kind of servers, the one close to the edge or far edge, say, with more functionalities, and the other one with ability also to host the core network, in addition to the video and CDU functionalities. Then we have been moving slowly towards the Robin platform, now denoted as Rakuten platform, which is our Kubernetes based on platform. So the target is to achieve soon full containerization and pods to make even better the ability for us to deploy new services introduce artificial intelligence to optimize and improve the various business processes, and also generate new services, including offering and exposing our infrastructure as a service to other customers, enabling the B2B business, say, yeah.
Okay. And it's interesting you mentioned artificial intelligence, right? I think in this day and age, you can't run away with AI, ML, Gen AI conversations, right? From a telco perspective, David, if I can stay with you on this, what do you think AI or machine learning what role does this technology play from a telco perspective? How is it going to be from a cost reduction perspective? Is it perhaps building new business models? What's your thinking around this AI and ML area?
So we have various levels of applications. So AI and AI algorithms, they're very much related to the use cases. So we do have, for example, use cases that we use AI ML, so machine learning algorithm, which is supervised and unsupervised learning to, for example, analyze or identify anomalies. Anomalies that could be from the security perspective, or could be in terms of performance perspective, or we can use a machine learning, supervised learning for identifying trends. And then on top of it, we have integrated the results using a RAG model with a language model. So the language model introduces the ability to reduce the OpEx, because through prompting, so we can close the loop that you can interact with a massive amount of data, including results coming from other AI algorithms, in a simple way that the consumer, our business unit of this data, can use prompts. So these are basically the main applications we are having. And then type of use cases, for instance, we also have now the abilities, thanks to our end-to-end visualized infrastructure, to identify where and at what time exactly we need to upgrade our workloads, and that we use AI. About the monetization, we also use AI, because having access to anonymized data of any kind, think of the group, after the anonymization, so we are really respecting the privacy, preserving privacy of the end users. We can generate new services on top. This is also an area now under development that we tend now to project also towards the open API. So we do support the open API. This is also an area where in my divisions we are focusing at the moment.
Got it, fantastic. Marco, would you be able to kind of share from an M1 perspective?
So I think it's nothing much different from the telco at large, right? So when it comes to AI, I think we've been working with AI for a long period of time. Possibly the name changed a bit, evolved a little bit, but when it comes to the predictive discriminative algorithms, we've been there for years and years. The way that we are doing our segmentation, the way that we are analyzing our customer behavior, the way that we are making recommendations, and also ultimately, even recently, how we generate the hyper-personalized content as well to our customers based on these segmentations and their recent behaviors. It all gets super customized. And of course, you use AI and lately also Gen AI to close that end-to-end journey. When it comes to operations, that's one of the largest focuses that I have now. We have AI as a part of different products, and part of this is in security, another part is in the infrastructure. But the large picture now, I'm looking at the operations and really seeing how we can end-to-end automate and implement the AI to use the data, event logs, to make it a bit more cohesive, predictable, and preventive as well. So that's going to be a large focus. But I believe that for telco, there is an opportunity across the board when it comes to the way that we are facing our customers, the way how we are marketing our products, all the way to how we operate our systems as well.
Okay. We've spoken about digital transformation strategies. We've spoken about cloud-native platforms, etc. If I can kind of go back up a little bit from a high-level perspective, from a telco operator perspective, I know if you can jump into this, is what are some of the challenges that you see the telco market is facing from a Sri Lanka telco Mobitel perspective, right? Are there any specific challenges that are prompting this shift towards cloud-native architecture, or or the acceleration of digital transformation strategies?
Yes, because now having run this industry, the industry itself, the people who run this industry for the last 170 years, they have gone through multiple transformations. You might not call them transformations, but changes, the migrations, all of that. So the idea here is that it's basically, if you take the full stack of an operator, you have, like for us, we are very much hardware-centric, the networks, all these CapEx-heavy, asset-heavy stuff. And then the new things, which basically came in the last 10, 15 years, is more about, not about the hardware infrastructure, but it's more about the upper part of the stack, which is software. Like all these buzzwords that we talk about, the cloud native, AI, automation, orchestration, it's all the top part of the stack. So we are very much comfortable handling the bottom part of the stack. There's no issue with the talent. We sell connectivity services, basic hosting services. The telcos, not in our region, but everywhere, they're very comfortable in that. But the future is, it's not there. It's just the infrastructure supporting all the stuff that above it. So we need to move there. The challenge is like, one is we are inherently thinking in hardware terms. So it is something inherited from over the years. So it's changing the mindset of the people, the staff, the culture, all of that. So that is, the talent is one thing. And when you move there, you cannot just move like overnight, right? So it takes a while. So you need partners who really can understand your journey. Partners who's like willing to support that type of a journey, because the journey will not end in 1 year, 2 year, 3 years. So it's a long-term journey, maybe 5 years, 10 years. So it's very crucial that you select the right partners who are supportive and really understands your journey and very much prepared to work and walk with you through that journey. So for me, it's talent and the right partner selection.
And I think, Marco, you mentioned that as well, right? In the beginning, where you got to still kind of maintain the legacy infrastructure while at the meantime shifting towards the cloud, maintaining both infrastructure at the same time, right? Yeah. Maybe David, you have anything to add? What you've observed in this industry for the past couple of years?
What we do at RMI is a very smooth migration, because you think of the Rakuten Cloud, denoted also as Robin.io. It enables us a smooth shift from VM type of environment to a Kubernetes type of environment, because we also have ability in our pods to replicate the virtual machines. So in the end, we achieve a cluster mesh without compromising any service. So that's a great thing. Now, thinking of the industry in general, because I'm active also outside Asia Pacific, particularly I'm looking into the European market. I think that Rakuten Mobile is truly, among other few players, a pioneer and leader in this sector. So I'd like to share here my vision that we need to implement soon, because this industry does now require a serious transformation. We need to absolutely shift from VM to cloud-native functions. We don't know what are cloud-native functions. Yes, we do know. Just go to the CNCF web and adopt that definition. Are we done there? No, we aren't. The next step, we need to shift from cloud-native functions and to something that is decoupled from the cloud-native platform underneath, which means when you talk about that your workload is cloud-native, it doesn't mean that I need to change my infrastructure or my cloud platform to support your workloads. Absolutely the contrary. So you need to make your workloads that run on my cloud infrastructure. That means that you are cloud native. So we need to absolutely decouple the workloads, 5G or 6G workloads, from the underlying cloud native platform. I don't care the decoupling or hardware software. I care that I can run on my cloud native platform, my Kubernetes, your workloads, okay? And the last step we need to do now also, and I'm serious for this. Yesterday, I spoke to various colleagues, so we're gonna have a white paper, and we will create a task force and underpin on the Linux Foundation as well as Open RAN Alliance, and then we will push this to 3GPP. What we need to do as a last step to move many of the fundamental functionalities currently implemented in the workloads down to the platform. In the end, I want to have just a kubectl deploy command to have your workloads supporting connectivity on my platform. I want to do that, which means you need to get rid of security, because currently there is encryption, the layer 7. I don't want that encryption. I don't. If I want to enable my encryption, I do it on my platform. It is my responsibility to offer network security. You need to remove, and I just give you an example, identity management. I want to use PIFA. You don't need to introduce any protocol in that. And it remains to be seen also how we could remove the GTP tunnels from there. So we need to have an extremely simple application, which after all, I don't know whether you ever thought about why do we need mobile networks. This is what I'm explaining to my daughter and my son. It's because you just need to maintain the validity of one IP address or your device that moves across the information. Nothing else. That you need to maintain with a degree of service and introduce security, which can be now, a lot of them offloaded to the infrastructure. By doing this industry will survive, because then you will have something malleable that I could expose many other capabilities around it, and my platform will not only host all workloads for providing connectivity, so maintain the validity of this IP address, but I can have my OSS on it, I can have my BSS on it, I can have my services, I can have my AI platform that I can nicely connect to it and generate new services. So that's my vision. I hope we share this vision. And yeah.
Thanks, David. And I think that's something that maybe food for thought for everyone here in the audience. And I would also like to kind of give the opportunity to the audience. If anyone has any questions for our panelists, I think we have about 4 more minutes. So before I ask my final question to the panelists, I want to give the opportunity to the attendees here, the audience here, if you have any questions for our panelists. No, maybe not. Okay, cool. So maybe let me just maybe a wrapping thought for Marco, right? We have about 3 minutes left. We've heard about David's vision, right? I think it's a fantastic vision. But Marco, from your perspective or from an M1's perspective, what's next? What can we kind of expect from M1 in the future or in the next 6 to 12 months?
So maybe I'll just connect to David's thoughts, and I think it's a wonderful thought. It makes things so easy and much more easier than things are today. With that easiness of actually managing your infrastructure, providing the capacity, spinning up and down the servers and databases, the responsibility is completely shifting. And I think that is one of the learnings that I want to share with you guys. When you had this on-prem containers and clusters deployed there, right, the responsibility was of the supplier to do the right dimensioning, put it there, and it works, right? When you are on the cloud, the accountability shifts internally because the cost can really, really skyrocket if you're not actually taking this responsibly, using the best practices as to how you're implementing your loads on the technology, and also monitoring this to always optimize and make it more efficient. So that is one perspective. When it comes to the future, I think from the foundation that we have built with our hard work, we now have a good opportunity to further innovate. We have a single data lake. We have pretty much all of our SaaS products available. A lot of the best-of-breed partners, that some of them are here also in this room, are innovating in the Gen AI. So I think for the telco size of M1, we are looking at more like a use case by use case opportunities when it comes to AI and Gen AI, rather than a big investments like a platform investments. Mm-hmm. The other pathway that we are trying to take is also our internal partnerships with the Asia Pac and internal partnership with the Keppel Data Center, where we can also create probably a pathway for us to actually productize some of those use cases in the future. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that will be our strategic orientation when it comes to the further innovations.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thanks for sharing. David, maybe some quick thoughts that you want to share with to the audience?
Yeah, another direction which I strongly believe, we work at Rakuten Mobile, and now I'm engaged also with the Symphony, is that we need to evolve the cloud-native platform too. Let me explain what I mean. If on the one hand, we are expecting VNF to become true and decouple C and F, cloud-native functions, on the other hand, we work very hard to evolve the cloud-native platform. If you think of today our network, we have thousands of clusters. Kubernetes cluster, which consists of a control plane master node, and then you have worker nodes on which we install our software, right? We have thousands of them. If you want to achieve a sustainable infrastructure, you need to increase the degree of freedom you can optimize. How we can do it and how we will do it. The first, we will support horizontal and vertical autoscaling. It is a function already of the Kubernetes. You need to support it. Beyond that, we are now discussing having a composable, disaggregated infrastructure. If you look at, let me explain quickly what that is. If you think how Kubernetes works, each work node, so each node has unique access to underlying resources. It could be virtualized or physical, doesn't matter. With the composable disaggregated infrastructure, we will achieve the ability that each node will share the underlying resources without touching the Kubernetes layer. And finally, what we want to achieve is cluster pairing to have, instead of 1,000 clusters to manage, one cluster. One cluster, cluster peering and cluster mesh, where I can myself orchestrate all workloads across the entire infrastructure. And therefore, I will achieve, number one, security, because availability will be made available through n cluster instead of one cluster. We will achieve sustainable network because we can optimize in terms of energy consumption. I don't need to use resources which there is no traffic, for instance. And then the last one, I can connect all this capability to my AI platform and achieve whatever is left behind the infrastructure.
Great. Thanks, David. Anu, if you can.
Yeah, like all that is good. I mean, AI, cloud native, all that. So somebody will have to do the fundamentals like bit transport, bit processing, byte storage, right? Whether telco is going to do that or not is a different matter, but somebody will have to do it at what price points, what are the new business models. So that is going to be the challenge, and that is where actually delayering come in. All the heavy telcos will have to think about delayering and we have to do the fundamentals, but at what cost and what is the best way to do it. So that is the challenge.
Great. Thanks. Thank you, Marco. Thank you, David. Thank you, Anu, for your insightful insights. And thank you, everyone, for your patience and your focus. Thank you.